From the director of A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place 2 comes a family-friendly movie about imaginary friends. Let's talk about it. If is directed by John Krasinski, and the movie follows a young girl who goes through a difficult experience, begins to see everyone's imaginary friends who have been left behind as their real friends have all grown up. Now, the plot of this movie does remind me of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, a show that I really enjoyed back in like 2008 or 4. I forgot when the show came out. I think it was 2008. But that was a show that really explored imaginary friends and how they're in a foster home. And the movie kind of has the same tone here where there are imaginary friends living in a retirement home. So there's some parallels here that I'm not sure if John Krasinski knew that this show existed, but I digress. And keep in mind, I know this is a family-friendly movie. These are my opinions. I mean, you should still go see this movie if you have kids, because I do think it's enjoyable. But for me personally, I kind of had a hard time really enjoying this film. And it's a shame because I really enjoy Krasinski as a director. He does a great job with the Quiet Place movies, or one of my favorite horror movies, really. And for him to go to a family movie, I was like, all right, this seems kind of cool. It's a bit of a tonal shift. Let's see if he can knock it out the park. And I'm not sure what he had in mind here, because I feel like there was a vision here. There was a structure that he was trying to build here, but I just feel like some of the pacing was just a bit off, even with the tonal shifts. There's so many things going on that I'm not sure if kids will really want to follow through. And I think the adults will have a better time watching this movie, considering that some of the themes involved really do hit home personally. But at the same time, this is a kids movie, so I would figure that the kids want to see some imaginary friends do some whimsical, crazy antics. And I feel like some of the exploration in this movie is a bit uneven too, because I want to know about our main character B, who's played by Kaylee Fleming. How is she the only one to see imaginary friends, but even the other kids who are introduced in this movie cannot see them? Like, I'm a bit conflicted by that, and maybe I'm overthinking it because yeah, it is a family movie, but I would like to know a little bit more about her reason of why she could see these imaginary friends. And speaking of Kaylee Fleming, she is a goddamn star in this movie. She does an excellent job really carrying her performances from the beginning to the end of the movie, and she's really given a tough task to really bring in those happier moments and really some of the somber moments that we get to see towards the third act. We also get introduced to Cal, played by Ryan Reynolds, who of course I love Ryan Reynolds. He's a great movie star. He's really funny, but at the same time, I didn't really find him as funny in this film, and maybe that's because it's a PG movie, so his comedic tones have to be a bit watered down, not to like the R-rated PG-13 humor that I really enjoy. But for what it's worth, I do think he does give a solid performance here, and maybe not my favorite because he is a bit grumpy in this film, and I don't want to really get into spoilers of why he's such a grump, but it does kind of pay off towards the end of the movie. Alongside B and Cal, we do get two imaginary friends, one voiced by Steve Carell named Blue, which again, Blue is also a character in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. So again, I'm not sure if John Krasinski is a big fan of the show or he just did not know that show actually existed. And then we have Blossom, voiced by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and I do believe two of these imaginary friends do get a lot to shine in the movie. And then there's other imaginary friends involved with a big voice cast here, which is a whole slew of famous celebrities that I'm not going to really list here, and you can really find out yourselves here because I think there's a bunch that really do a good job here, but at the same time, they're a bit underutilized here because, again, this is a movie about imaginary friends, and I feel like we don't get to see a lot of them. I mean, there's some cool moments, especially towards one scene in the retirement foster home that involves a Tina Turner song that really brightens my soul. But that's really all it, because everywhere else in the movie, we don't really get to see the other imaginary friends. And I think the kids really want to see more of those characters, not just Blue and Blossom, which I do think, hey, they are great on their own. But I mean, there's a whole world full of imaginary friends. Why not use all of them, or at least incorporate them in some ways? And like I said, this is a kids movie, so I would want the kids to have a little more fun time with the movie than really the adults, because when we go to the third act, I feel like all the kids are like checked out. Like, where the hell is that purple looking dragon that I want to see on the big screen? I don't want to see adults crying here. And I do think a lot of the adults in my movie theater were crying at some of the big emotional moments towards the third act. And that's what I mean. The movie has some really tonal shifts that don't really blend in together correctly, or even give enough build up for me to even care about, because we do get B's father, actually played by John Krasinski, who has a significant amount of screen time in the movie, but at the same time, there's not enough story between the father and daughter to really really develop their relationship together. And I still think it's a solid movie to watch regardless. I mean, there are some fun moments involved. I do think kids are going to enjoy some of the characters presented. I do think some of the older adults who get a little more emotional with some of the story beats here that may resonate towards them. It didn't really resonate towards me, which is fine. I think there's some topics here that some adults could really gravitate towards, but hey, it could be something that you may enjoy. Overall, I have to give props to John Krasinski for trying to deliver a really interesting kids movie despite some tonal shifts. I mean, there's some fun character moments and some heartwarming scenes that still could really gravitate the family to watch and enjoy at the end of the day. So that's why I'm going to give this rating a 3 out of 5. It's still enjoyable, even though there's some inconsistent pacing involved that, hey, you know what? It's still a fun time. I think kids are going to enjoy. I think some adults are going to really resonate towards some of the story beats. It just wasn't really for me, but still not a bad movie. I'm not gonna lie, this was kind of tough to review because, again, this is like a kid's movie and I want to give it the benefit of the doubt, and it's always worth giving movies a chance to watch, especially a movie like this coming out of a summer blockbuster season. So hey, A for effort right there. But those are my thoughts. I want to know your thoughts down below. Let me know what you guys think of If. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you gonna rewatch it again? I want to hear from you guys in those comment section, and please leave a like in this video, subscribe to the channel if you can, and I'll catch you guys on the next review. Take care, bye bye.